Hello students, in this video we'll see a problem on isometric projection of the combination of solids. So this problem is fifth problem. The problem definition is a hemisphere of diameter 50 mm is resting on its curved surface centrally on the top face of the frustum of a rectangular pyramid of a base 80 mm into 60 mm and a top face 60 mm into 40 mm and a height of 55 mm. Draw the isometric projection of the combination of solids. So here the problem is it consists of two components. One is hemisphere, another one is a rectangular pyramid. So now rectangular pyramid dimensions are, this side it is 80 and this side it is 60. Now height of this rectangular pyramid is 55 mm and top face is, on this side it is a 60, on this right side it is a 40. Now over this one, a hemisphere of diameter 50 mm, it is going to place axially on this rectangular frustum of a rectangular pyramid. Okay. Now let us see the solution. As usual, let us draw one reference point here. Now let us mark a point, reference corner point. So on this side I am going to place 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on left side I am going to place a 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let us draw a very thick line here because these bottom edges are clearly visible to you. Now you just draw a thin line. Just to draw a thin line here. So here also just to draw a thin line here. So now identify its center point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. You got a midpoint here. You got a midpoint here. Similarly 1, 2, 3, 4. You got a midpoint here. Okay. So now this is what a midpoint. Okay. Now from this midpoint, let us draw a line of 5.5 units because height is 55 mm. Height is 55 mm. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm going to get a midpoint here. I'll just draw a very thin line here. Okay. Now let us mark its midpoint. Okay, now this is what a midpoint. Now top surface dimensions are 40 mm and 60 mm. What I'll do, I'm just going to draw a line here passing through the midpoint of all these blocks, a very thin line. And here also I'm going to draw a very thin line here. Okay. Now, you just measure 40 mm means it is symmetry, 1 block, 2 block. Let us mark here, one block, 2 block. Let us mark here. Now this dimension is 40 mm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 40 mm. Now similarly mark on this side, 1 block, 2 block, 3 block. Let us mark here. Again 1 block, 2 block, 3 block. Let us mark here. Okay. So now just to construct a top surface, let us draw with first initially thin lines here. After getting the corners, you can go for thicker line. Now we go for thicker line for visible portion. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now connect side edges. Now this completes the frustum of a rectangular pyramid. Okay. Now over this one, you need to draw hemisphere. You got a center point here. You got a center point. Okay. So now from this center point, we just mark 2.5 units because diameter is 50 mm. That means it is a 5 units. Okay. And radius is equal to 25 mm. It is 2.5 units. Okay. It is 2.5 units. Point 5, 1.5, 2. Okay. This is the center point of hemisphere. Now let us construct a parallelogram here. So keeping 2.5 units on left side and 2.5 units on right side. 1, 2. Okay, you got a 1 point here. 1, 2. 2.5 here you got a 1 unit, 1 line. So 1, 2. So 1, 2, 2.5 you got a 1 more line here. Similarly 1, 2 you got a 1 point here. Now let us draw a thin line here. So now this is the center point. I'll just mark one here. Now from this center point, you take a 2.5 units on right side, 2.5 units on left side, 2.5 units on this top side, 2.5 units on this down side. Okay. So now you got a parallelogram. Let us connect the midpoints here, opposite corner midpoints. One, two. So here you got a midpoint. Similarly, draw from this side also. You draw from this side also. Now these lines should be very thin. So now use compass to get the ellipse shape. Now keep this as an center point, this much as a radius. Let us draw an arc here. Okay. Similarly, keep this top corner as a center point. Now let us draw an arc here. Now keep a center point of these two intersection lines. Now let us draw arc here. Similarly, draw on this right side also. Okay. So now keep O1 as a center point. Let us take this much as a radius. You just draw an arc here. So keeping O1 as a center point, you just draw an arc here. Now this completes the hemisphere. Now we just go for darkening the visible lines of this top surface. Okay. Now this completes the solution. Okay, now let us see isometric projection, fifth problem, computer solution. So it is a combination of two components again here. So it consists of a hemisphere of diameter 50 mm, is resting on its curved surface centrally, okay, on the top face of a frustum of a rectangular pyramid here. Okay. So base side is base side is 80 by 60 mm and the top face is 60 by 40 mm and height of this rectangular pyramid is 55 mm. This is the top face. This one is the bottom face. Okay, so height of this frustum of a pyramid is 55 mm. So here dimension is 80. So here it is a 60. So here it is a 60 and here it is a 40. Okay. And hemisphere is centrally placed over here. Its axis is coincide with the axis of the frustum of a rectangular pyramid. Now this is what a frustum of a pyramid. and this is hemisphere. Now let us see how you can solve this one using solid edge software. Now let us draw first a base here. For this one I am going to just draw a very thin line, thin vertical line here. Okay. So from this corner point I will start a drawing. So 80 mm, 30 degree. So now it is a 60 mm, 150 degree. Again it is 80 mm minus 150 degree. Let us close here. Okay. So now identify its center point. Now it is what a center point of the rectangular, base rectangular. Now from this point you just draw a line of 55 mm. Okay. Now to avoid the confusion of the drawings one over the another, what I will do, I am going to draw this rectangle, that is what a top surface rectangle, as a separate one. Now let us start here. So it is a 60 mm at an angle of 30 degree, 40 mm at an angle of 150 degree. Again it is a 60 mm at an angle of minus 150 degree, and close. Again I will just connect here midpoints. Okay. I'm just going to use the move command here. I'll turn off copy option. I will select this entire rectangle. I will take this midpoint as a reference point and I will place over here. Okay. Now let us draw the clearly visible edges. That is what a slant edges. Okay. Now you can select these edges. I can make it as a thicker one. Now this completes the frustum of a rectangular pyramid. Okay. Over this top surface you need to draw the hemisphere. What I will do, again I will draw this one on the side. So because when you start drawing over one another, so you are going to get a confusion here. So to avoid that one, what I will do, I am just going to draw here at the side 50 mm, it's a 30 degree. Again it is a 50 mm, 150 degree. 50 mm minus 150 degree. Sorry. -50 mm minus 150 degree. Let us close here. So let us make very thin lines here. Now take a line again. From this corner point you just connect here midpoint. Again from this corner point you just connect over here midpoint. Again from this corner point you just move over here, you are going to get a midpoint. Similarly here. Okay. So now just to take arc here, arc by center point method. Keep this as a center point. This much as the radius, you just draw over an arc here. Similarly keep this as a center point. You just draw over arc here. Now keep center point here. This as, okay, Now it is not taking. So let us try here first. So here also it is not taking. Or else you take a center point over here. You can start from here. Take center point over here. You can just take here. Okay. Now this is about the hemisphere surface. Now to draw its curvature here, okay, so I'll just draw one more line. Okay. Now I'll draw one more line here because I need a center point. Now take an arc here by center point method. So keep this as a center point, this quadrant point as a radius. Let us draw a half circle over here. Okay. Now this is a hemisphere. Now let us go for placement of this hemisphere over the top surface of the rectangular pyramid. Okay, frustum of a rectangular pyramid. Now as you know, diameter of this hemisphere is 50 mm. Now radius becomes 25 mm. Now from this top surface, what I will do, I am going to draw a 25 mm line here. Okay, I got a center point for the hemisphere. Okay, what I will do, next step, I will go for move option. I will turn off copy. I will select this entire drawing. I will keep this center point or midpoint as a reference point, and I will place over here. Okay. Now once you complete it, you can just erase these construction lines. You can erase these construction lines. Or else you can keep those construction lines as a very thin. Then you make border lines or visible lines as a very thick. That is one more case. To differentiate the thicknesses, what I will do, you just observe. I will trim out here. I will take this as a line and I will make it 0.5 mm thick, and I will extend to next here. Okay, now this much is enough. Extend this one here. Extend this one like that. Okay. Similarly, you just go here. Trim unwanted portion. Let us remove this one. Let us select this line. This is going to be visible clearly. Make it as a 0.5 mm. Okay. Now this completes the solution.